In this video, we're going over the EDC lineup for 2023. Let's go. What's up everybody, my name is Brett and I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about music festivals and travel to get you outraging. EDC Las Vegas is right around the corner, so you're probably wondering about some artists that other people recommend that you go see. So in this video, we're going to go stage by stage. I'll give you my recommendations for who to see. Typically when I do a lineup review, I will go through every single artist on the lineup and tell you a little bit about, who they are, what kind of music they make. But just to save time, since I've been working on another video, I'm just going to give you my recommendations. That video that I've been working on is actually right here. It's a scavenger hunt I hosted at Beyond Wonderland with 4 random ravers picked from my Instagram. So go follow me on Instagram to be in the next one. This video was awesome because the winner of that scavenger hunt got upgraded to VIP. So definitely check that video out right here. As per usual, I will have a playlist in the description for all of the artists at EDC. Check that out in the description below, and you can kind of prep yourself for all these artists and discover new music. I will also have chapters in this video for each stage, just in case you're looking for a particular stage of artist recommendations. Oh, and before I forget, I made this flag for EDC. It says, "Sorry Mom, I'm outraging." I got people to vote on it on Instagram, so follow me there for updates, but I am going to be giving these away. I've got 4 of them. I'm going to give 1 each day to the first person that finds me. I will be flying a flag of 1 of my own. I might not fly the flag all weekend long, so just keep an eye out. And follow me on Instagram. You can see updates, and I'll probably post pictures of pre-gaming stuff. You can see what I'm wearing to keep an eye out. But either way, try and find me. I'll give you 1 for free, and I look forward to seeing you there. The first stage that we're going to be looking at is Stereo Bloom, and don't mind me if I'm looking down. I've got the lineup on my phone right here, so I'm going to reference that. Stereo Bloom is a stage that has kind of a lot, but mostly in the kind of house region because it's hosted by Insomniac Records. There's a lot of house on that label. From the top, my artist recommendations are going to be A-Craze and back-to-back Noizu. They're both fantastic. A-Craze or A-Craze, depending on how you want to say it, has I think it's called Do It To It remix that popped off in the last year, and then Noizu has been making great house music forever. So definitely check that one out. Another great artist that I recommend is Sid. I haven't gotten to see Sid in quite some time, and every time I have seen Sid, it's been a great set. And years ago, it was funny, he put a big, actually it was right when Mandalorian Season 1 came out. He put a big Baby Yoda head that was kind of nodding or waddling back and forth, and it was pretty funny. Disco Lines is another one I definitely recommend. I put that on my Hard Summer lineup review, so definitely check that out in the description if you're going to go to Hard Summer. But Disco Lines is making some amazing music, really just party vibes, party house music. Another one within house that I really like is Hugel. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, but he makes a lot of Latin house, and Latin house is one of my favorites just because it just really makes you, really makes you move, I guess. It's a lot of fun. So definitely check out Hugel in the playlist if you haven't heard of him. I would highly recommend you go see him. Next 2 are Odd Mob and Sunny Federa. Space Lace is actually remixed an Odd Mob song called Left to Right or something like that. It just says left to right over and over. Great song, highly recommend you check them out. Sunny Federa as well, lots of really melodic songs for Sunny Federa. Now, I will say this right now, there's tons of artists on here that I won't mention that I still would recommend. So people like Dombresky, James Hype, Mau P, Tom and Collins. There's lots of really good artists on here, but for many reasons, I won't be mentioning them just because things like Mau P specifically, he's been on a bunch of the Insomniac lineups. He was at Escape, Countdown, and I think Beyond as well. So I've had my chance to see him. If you're, a fan of all these Insomniac events and go to them often, you've probably seen Mau P there. If there's someone that, you recommend that other people see that I don't mention, definitely leave that in the comments because, people will check. I'd love to hear your recommendations as well, just in case there's somebody that, I don't potentially know about. Okay, on to the next one. We're going to look at Quantum Valley. For Quantum Valley, trance is not typically my genre, but there are a few artists here that I would really want to go to see because with something like EDC specifically, I like to try to get to every stage at least once throughout the whole weekend. It's really easy to get stuck at one stage because it's a genre you like, or 2 stages, between main stage and the Basspod or something like that. But you know, it's always good to branch out and see the new stages, because I mean, there's 9 stages and a bunch of art cars and probably other stages that are smaller that aren't lineup stages, so you're gonna want to experience all that. Anyways, a couple here: Cosmic Gate, classic in the trance world. Ferry Corsten, Gareth Emery, fantastic, lots of great lasers. I'm sure they'll be utilizing those very much. Vinny Vici is an artist that's been around for a while. Saw him back in the kind of like 2013 era, 24, well maybe more like 2014 era, and definitely recommend. Lane 8, another one that's fantastic. Saw at Day Trip last year, and that was kind of my first exposure to Lane 8 live, and I really enjoyed it, so highly recommend. And the last one here is Yoto. I haven't seen Yoto, but my friend Alyssa, who is known on Instagram and TikTok as the Corporate Raver, I think either went to see Yoto recently or recommends Yoto. Check their songs out and really like them. So check out Yoto as well. And I think there's some others that my friends had mentioned, Blastoise and Sultan and Shepherd. I've heard those are good artists, but you know, I can't confirm for myself because I'm sorry, I kind of rushed through this one, so I apologize. Next one we're gonna look at is Neon Garden. And at this stage, it's gonna be techno. It's hosted by Factory 93, which is Insomniac's techno label. So of course, this is gonna be the techno stage. Number 1 up here is Eli Brown. Everybody I know has been talking about Eli Brown. I actually saw Eli Brown at Escape and can confirm it was very enjoyable, and I'm not even a huge techno person. Quickly, I'll mention Art Bat. Heard great things about Art Bat. Another one on my recommendations though is Hot Since 82. Been around forever, a bunch of amazing songs. But next up on this one would be Loco Dice, back-to-back Fisher. Obviously Fisher isn't techno. Honestly, I'm not even sure Loco Dice is. I think Loco Dice is a little bit more like Fisher, but I love seeing Fisher. I've seen Fisher quite a few times, and every time Fisher's great, but Fisher being combined with someone like Loco Dice, I'm sure will be a lot of fun. I mean, the Chris Lake back-to-back Fisher set at Coachella was totally different too from, you know, a typical Fisher set. So definitely recommend checking this out. Check out some Loco Dice before, if you're not familiar. A couple other honorable mentions before I move on. Mochok, I've heard great things. Martinez Brothers, as well as Will Clark, so check them out. Next up, Wasteland. This is the hardstyle stage, hosted by Basscon, of course. I'm not a huge hardstyle person, but I'm trying to get into it more. There's a few songs that I've been getting into lately. It's actually really great at the gym. I mean, obviously not a huge surprise there, but anyways, let's jump into some of these recommendations. Obviously, Sub-Zero Project, if you're a hardstyle person, you have known about Sub-Zero Project. Ben Nicky, I'm sure as well. The one thing that I thought was super interesting about this is that Ben Nicky presents Extreme. I'm not sure what that's going to mean. I'm assuming it's going to be fairly aggressive. So if you're into that, definitely check that one out. And then obviously the combination with Sub-Zero Project got some pretty popular songs there. So probably a pretty solid bet if you want to go to a hardstyle set. Next up, Darren Styles. I saw Darren Styles at Beyond Wonderland for my first time. I know, shocker if you're a hardstyle fan. I really enjoyed that set. It was so much fun. He played a bunch of really popular, like almost classic EDM songs that had a lot of vocals, but then obviously sped up into the hardstyle, really fast tempo, I guess. Anyways, Darren Styles, fantastic. You can also check that out in my Beyond Wonderland vlog that's going to be coming out. I'll link that in the description. That's not going to be out in time. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Just subscribe and then you can see that vlog. Next up is Gammer, back-to-back Tweakacore. So if you're familiar with his song, what song is that? How's it go? It's super popular. How am I not remembering it? Watch, I'm going to look up Gammer on SoundCloud, and it's going to be the first song that's on his... Okay, not the first song, it's the 5th song, but The Drop, right here. Yeah, so that song is fantastic. That's the song that probably got most people into Gammer because it was immensely popular. And that's the only reason I want to go see Gammer, because I'm in love with that song, as most people are. So I would look more into Tweakacore, definitely more hardstyle heavy. I'm sure it'll be great because Gammer is fantastic, makes amazing music, and probably is going to be a great set. Last one here is Soren. Don't know too much about Soren, just really like a lot of Soren songs. Then there's actually a few honorable mentions here. Tweeka's classic, Lady Faith, another great one. Sub-Zero Project by themselves, DJ Anime probably, but the other one that I like hesitate to mention is Lil Texas, because Lil Texas, there's a bunch of hype on Little Texas. Not little, Lil Texas. It's very particular in his style, so you absolutely have to check out some of his songs first. It's incredibly fast, it's incredibly aggressive. That one's not for me, or it'll be some getting used to, probably more of an acquired taste, so yeah, check that out first. Alright, on to the next one. Let's talk about Cosmic Meadow. This is a fantastic stage. It's hosted by Hard, another Insomniac label. They're kind of all over the place with Hard, so there's house, dubstep. I would just say that this is in general a more hype stage when it comes to music compared to things like, you know, melodic house or something like that. Most of these are basically dubstep or bass house. The only exception I would say here is my first recommendation, which is Sid back-to-back Sage Armstrong. Both of these are kind of like regular house or deep house. Sage Armstrong is kind of like a Dirty Bird campout artist, or just Dirty Bird artist. Obviously they're the label too, but yeah, that combination is going to be really cool. So if you're not going to see the regular Sid set, I would see this one. Next up, Frost Top. I've been trying to see Frost Top for so long because Frost Top's been on a bunch of Insomniac lineups, but always earlier in the day. With all of these artists that are on here, probably going to be another earlier in the day one, so I'm going to give it my best shot. But this is dubstep, very aggressive. Anyways, moving on. Next is Grizz. Grizz is amazing. If you don't know Grizz, it's like saxophone meets dubstep meets wobbles, and it's just awesome. I highly recommend Grizz, and I will mention Grizz a little bit later because he's playing with Subtronics. Honestly, I'm going to try to see both. Anyways, moving on. Next one is Nostalgics. She is coming up pretty fast here in the bass house scene. Maybe a little bit of tech house-ish in there, but mostly bass house. She's a lot of fun. Been kind of playing all over, but kind of, again, one of those earlier in the day, not quite as early as Frost Top has been, so I think having her at EDC and seeing her at EDC will be pretty cool because she's been kind of blowing up the club scene. Next up, Chami and AC Slater. Both are legends in the kind of deep house slash bass house space. More, not really deep house, more bass house. I mean, you should probably check out the, I think it's 2018 Chami Ultra set. That one's just amazing. So I'm going to try as hard as I can to be there. And then the last one would be Zed's Dead back-to-back Chase and Status. I'm not too familiar with Chase and Status, but a friend of mine told me that they're drum and bass and that Zed's Dead's going to be playing drum and bass with them. So obviously for me, I'm a huge drum and bass fan these days, so I will absolutely be there. There's a ton of great artists right here, so honorable mention time. Arm & Hammer, melodic dubstep. Boogie T and Dirt Monkey, both kind of wonky dubstep, fantastic. Chris Lorenzo, house, abstract, bass house. I have heard good things about Jay Wara, have seen James Hype. Gesture is basically booty shaking, high fast Latin house. I'm not sure if that's the proper definition, but that's what I feel like it is. Kaivon is melodic dubstep. I've heard good things about K-Tronada, but I'm not familiar. Matroda house. Noizu I had mentioned before, but the back-to-back is probably where I would go. Said This Guy, melodic dubstep, great. Sunny Federa, mentioned before. Sullivan King, aggressive dubstep. I know there's tons of huge Sullivan King fans out there. I am a Sullivan King fan, but he plays everywhere, so this is kind of more for people that are trying to branch out. That's kind of what I'm trying to recommend here, so don't worry. I still recommend seeing Sullivan King if you haven't, because he's great. And then Wax Motif and Yetep. I saw Yetep at Beyond Wonderland. That was great. It was packed in there. I would try to see him again because the sound wasn't that great at the Sea of Wonder stage. And then Wax Motif, great bass house. That was a long one. Let's move on. Basspod time. This is going to be my favorite stage. There's no way of getting around it. So I'm going to start off with the dubstep artists, which are going to be in red, and then I'll move on to the drum and bass artists, which are going to be in purple. I'm going to prioritize the purple, just FYI. So Eliminate. I only caught like 15 minutes of him at Beyond, and I've seen him before, but he's always a great time and he's super unique. Eptic. Every time I see Eptic, it's amazing. I had seen Eptic, I want to say 2017 at the Ogden Theater in Denver, and that was my first time seeing him, and it was just epic. Eptic was epic. And then most recently I saw him at Countdown, which was awesome. He was supposed to play with Getter at Escape, and he didn't. So if you got a shirt or jacket with a lineup on it, it says Eptic on it, I think that's kind of funny. Anyways, I will always recommend Eptic because he just knows how to throw a freaking rage. Next one is Excision back-to-back Dion Timmer, and I mean, if you don't know, this is kind of an obvious one. Everybody loves Excision, obviously, he's great. But Dion Timmer is, you know, super young and just makes some crazy good music. And I think, you know, they have a lot of collabs together. I just think that this pair together will be really good. I mean, if you have been to an Excision set, you kind of know that you're gonna get what you expect. And throwing Dion Timmer in there, I like that's kind of like you know, an outlier. It's going to change it up a little bit. Now we've gotten to Grizztronics. This is Grizz and Subtronics. This is probably going to be super packed. If you're not familiar, they made a song together about 3 or 4 years ago called Grizztronics, and it was just crazy popular. Everybody was playing it at every set, at every festival, and for good reason. It was a fantastic song. It blew up Subtronics, and also for good reason, because Subtronics is great. Highly recommend. I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun. Next one is Hole. You have to go see Hole. If you have been following anything, Coachella Fortet has been playing this song called Country Rhythm. Everybody's freaking out about. It's basically this really aggressive rhythm song, and you know, there was some drama about Fred again, you know, stopping the track. I won't go too far into it, but when you wind a track back like that, it's more like, it's not like stop playing it, it's like, oh man, it's so good, you gotta play it again. Anyways, that country rhythm song that Fortet was playing, that's that countdown with Skrillex and Fred again, and everywhere else, that's by Hole, and I think it's just obvious. You gotta go support the man. Okay, next up in the dubstep section before we move on to drum and bass is Moody Good throwback set. I mean, anytime there's a throwback set, I am all for it, and especially Moody Good. He's fantastic, so check that out. And then Space Laces. He is a legend. He's just amazing. He makes such good music, and I've seen him at every chance I could get because all of his sets are so good. You can check out his Voltage mixes on YouTube and SoundCloud, I think, as well. They're a good example of what a Space Laces set will sound like. Last up for dubstep, Sullivan King back-to-back Kaiwachi. This is why I didn't recommend Sullivan King before. Him back-to-back with Kaiwachi is going to be fantastic. They do have a alter ego where it's the two of them called Meal Prep. This is not going to be that. Meal Prep is where they're playing a bunch of bass house. That's not going to be this set. They even tweeted about it, so it's confirmed. They're going to be playing dubstep. Sorry if you wanted to see Meal Prep. That seems to be a pretty exclusive thing to Lost Lands, so maybe go there. Okay, now for my favorite part, the drum and bass section. Don't skip it. Drum and bass is good, I promise. Anyways, so first up here is Bensley back-to-back Justin Hawks. I love all of their songs. I listen to them almost daily, and I'm so glad I actually got to see both of them in LA at Academy with Reaper and Delta Heavy. It was a fantastic time. They played separately, but I'm really excited to see them again together, just because I love their music, honestly. Next up, this is probably the set that I'm going to be prioritizing the whole weekend. No one will be able to tear me away from Dimension. He's insanely good. All of his songs I'm in love with, and I'm just so excited to finally have the chance to see him live. I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, he's from the UK. One of the reasons why he's not around a whole lot, and why I will absolutely be there. Next up is Metric back-to-back Graphics. These are a couple artists that are also on my daily drum and bass playlist. I've seen Graphics at Beyond. Unfortunately, the sound was pretty bad at the Sea of Wonder, like I mentioned before. And then Metric, I haven't seen as well, so seeing them together, gonna be great. Last up, drum and bass. Reaper is my guy. I love seeing Reaper. I've seen him, I think, 4 times now with the Academy. I'll see him anywhere, everywhere. He's just great. Check out his song Barricade. That one's my favorite. Okay, next one is Circuit Grounds. There's a lot of great artists here. This is gonna be another tough one. There's gonna be a lot of conflicts, so just prepare for that now. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, it's what we're gonna have to deal with. Anyways, starting from the top, Above and Beyond. I'm surprised they're not at main stage. That would be kind of another epic moment, kind of a return to home for me and probably many other people. Last time I went to EDC was 2015, and you know, they were playing main stage, and yeah, them at main stage is just epic. But next one is Afrojack's Sunrise set. I highly recommend Afrojack because he's not in the States a whole lot. this is like one of those few opportunities you'll get to see Afrojack and a sunrise set. I mean, come on, that's amazing. Last time I was at EDC, actually my first EDC, which was 2014, I saw Martin Garrix's sunrise set, and you know, Dutch artist, not exactly the same, but similar vibe, was fantastic. I highly recommend. Again, unfortunately, it's not at the main stage, but like I said, c'est la vie. Next up is Blank. Interesting change of pace from Above and Beyond to Afrojack to Blank, but dubstep, melodic dubstep, some mid-tempo. I still haven't had the chance to see him because I couldn't get there early enough to Beyond, but I will be trying. He also did a merch drop recently, so go check him out on Twitter. His merch drop is awesome. This chef's kiss. Next one, Dom Dalla. I saw him again at my second EDC 2015, and I've seen him since then, but great return home. I think I saw him also at Circuit Grounds that year. I will always go see Dom Dalla if I have the chance. Started out as deep house and kind of getting more into the tech house space, but he just makes great music, so check him out. Fisher, recommended before. I'll throw this in here because it's not circled just so you don't freak out, but Cascade, I definitely would recommend. I've seen him a zillion times. I'm going to see him at Hard Summer playing with John Summit, so that's the only reason why I'm not recommending him here. So relax. Marshmello, back-to-back Sudden Death. What? I mean, come on. You have to know what that's like. If you're familiar, you gotta know both of them, honestly. Sudden Death is huge, just insanely dark, aggressive rhythm. Basically, I mean, you can call it dubstep if you want, or trench, whatever. But Marshmello, I mean, you know, it's like light and poppy and all that jazz. So like, the two of them combined, they obviously do have a song together, if you're familiar, called, I forget what it's called, but this is what it's called. Here, I'll put it up somewhere. I just have to know. And I'm assuming because both of them are so huge and like it's just random that this is gonna be super packed, so probably try to get there early. Yeah, I'll be vlogging it, so stay subscribed for that and I'll let you know how that is. Next up, Peekaboo. Kind of wonky bass music, not necessarily dubstep. Really interesting. Kind of a Bass Nectar-ish vibe, not the kind of bad vibe that we have from Bass Nectar, like the music vibe, obviously. Okay, last up, Subtronics, obviously. EDM dude, obviously. EDM dude, obviously. But Subtronics is fantastic. I've seen him a zillion times, and he's very well liked for a reason. And there was actually a reel I saw recently where some guy was like,
Jesse, aka Subtronics himself, has been playing the same set for the last couple years.
Dude, like, everybody's been playing the same set for years. They play their music. Why would he not play his own music? No, he's great. Don't listen to that. And I've seen him over years-long periods, and it's been different. Like, yes, he makes an edit of his song and then plays that at different sets, but like, it's his music. He plays other shit too, so anyways, I digress. The honorable mentions here are, of course, as I kind of mentioned before, A Craze, Dioro, very Latin house. Excision, obviously I'd mentioned. Medusa, I saw at Escape. Also listened to plenty of Medusa music. Vinny Vici's here again. And then Yellow Claw. Yellow Claw is going to be at Hard Summer. That's the reason why I didn't recommend. Because Yellow Claw at Hard Summer is going to be playing with Floss as a back-to-back. I probably shouldn't assume you're going to both, but also if you weren't going to both, I mean, I don't know. Why don't you tell me why I should go to Yellow Claw in the comments? How about that? Okay, let's move on to main stage, Kinetic Field. There are so many good artists on here, it was hard to choose, but let's start from the top. Armin van Buuren. Armin van Buuren is another one like Afrojack, Dutch music artist that's not around in the United States a whole lot. Gonna be at EDC every year, of course. Well, not of course, but mostly. And been around forever, legend, amazing, highly recommend. David Guetta, pretty much similar to the same reasoning for Armin van Buuren. Oh, Cascade Redux is probably why I didn't highlight Cascade on the other one. Cascade by himself is going to be all of his regular music. Redux is kind of going to be more deep, more tech housey. Maybe not tech housey, but more like deep house and more minimal, which I've seen both. I feel like I like Redux better. Next up, Martin Horger. He's made a ton of extremely popular songs with a ton of extremely popular artists, and there's a very good reason for that. He knows what he's doing, and if you don't know him, you should. And if you do know him, then props to you. So I highly recommend, and you know, I think he's probably got a similar vibe to, or at least similar reasoning to kind of the Armin van Buuren and David Guetta. Like, I don't see him on a whole lot of lineups, so this is the perfect chance. Next up, Mala back-to-back Wax Motif. So I had given Wax Motif a honorable mention earlier. This is why back-to-back, I mean, that's gotta be super sick. I love Mala. Mala's just like really dark, yeah, I guess dark house music. His Notorious remix is my favorite by far. And that's been around for ages. So there's actually a picture of me wearing a Mala mask at Escape years ago at a Mala set. So that's gonna be a great one, especially at main stage. But next up, Morton, whatever. Morton's made some fantastic songs, number one. I'm gonna try. Morton's not on lineups a whole lot, so check him out. Shipwreck has been around for a long time. I don't wanna say he's coming up, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot more of Shipwreck lately than I had in, you know, recent years, and I like that because Shipwreck's a lot of fun. So check out Shipwreck, kind of tech house-ish, bass house-ish. And then last but not least on my recommendations is Slander. I'm a Slander fanboy, so sue me. I can't wait to see Slander at main stage. I mean, come on. That's gonna be awesome. If you know Slander, you're gonna get what you expect at a Slander set. So, you know, if that's not for you, then fine. But, you know, I just want to hear all those Dylan Matthew lyrics on the big main stage speakers. I know it's gonna probably be hell trying to get in and out of all those people, but it might be worth it. Okay, before I totally finish, obviously, there are a ton of artists on here that I didn't mention that I need to. Honorable mention time. Chris Lake, of course. I mean, he's like Fisher's dad. I mean, like he's the GOAT of tech house music. Don Bresky, also fantastic in that similar-ish space of house. Galantis is a bunch of really beautiful, I mean, come on, you know Galantis. Just lovely vocals and amazing music in general. Just really fun to dance to. Gareth Emery's here again, but like I said, I prioritize the other one just because it's like some special presentation. James Hype again. We've got another James Hype set, so you got lots of options where you want to see James Hype. And then Loud Luxury. I will always recommend Loud Luxury. They're kind of another, like, you know, you're going to get what you expect. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great house music. Honestly, I saw him at a Vegas pool party a few years ago, and that was like the pinnacle of my seeing Loud Luxury. I probably am gonna not see Loud Luxury until I can see him at another Vegas pool party. And honestly, that might actually be the way to see Shipwreck too, but I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm gonna be there. Marshmello, if you're just a fan of Marshmello, you cannot go to the B2B or go to both the back-to-back and this. Martin Garrix, I'm honestly not sure why I didn't circle Martin Garrix because I haven't seen him in ages. Same thing as Armin van Buuren, you know, pretty much plays EDC, not a whole lot of other things. Pauline Her, fantastic. Side Piece, great. Tiesto, great. Valentino Khan, and Zed, of course. All of them are legends, but, you know, my recommendations are my recommendations. The last stage that is on here, I didn't include Bionic Jungle. I didn't know a single artist on here, so definitely leave me a comment if you know any of these artists on the Bionic Jungle lineup. I'm sorry that I didn't take a chance to, you know, or take the time to go through every single artist. That's my bad. I will on the next one. But, you know, I appreciate you watching this far, and definitely check out the Beyond Scavenger Hunt. It's so fun, and I mean, it's really exciting, you know, following along, trying to play the riddles and seeing who wins the VIP. And if we get that, like I mentioned, if we get that to 1,000 likes, I'll do it again with my YouTube subscribers. So drop a comment on there if you want to be in the next one. All right, that's it for this one. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Make sure to drop a like and comment who you recommend to see at EDC, and I will catch you outraging. Peace.